Hello and welcome to Son of Kaiju Review. I'm Protomet.
I'm Tank.
We're tired.
Yep.
It's a dreary day out, and today we'll be talking about I Kill Giants.
Yep. And that's all, folks. Bye.
Admittedly, spoiler alert, we're not huge fans of this movie. No offense to this movie, to be honest. It's just A Monster Calls came out at around the same time, and that one was just a better movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was.
Like, for the story that's being told in this and that, they're very similar, and I just feel like...
They literally just replaced the boy with a girl.
Also got rid of the stories that were allegories.
Yep.
So instead we just get a movie about a girl who can't really seem to separate fact from fiction.
Yeah, that's pretty much, like...
She genuinely believes that she is hunting giants, and the movie kind of makes it seem like maybe she is right.
Maybe. It starts off with,
Her just doing random stuff in the woods to try and, I guess, lure giants.
Yep.
Or something.
She's got, some, buckets up in trees and filled with fish guts and stuff like that. Or something.
I mean, I know for a fact that while we were watching this movie, I was doing other stuff.
Yeah, so...
I wasn't even all that enthused about rewatching the film, to be honest. But we're doing it now, so...
Yep. So, well, as she's, checking different, I guess, spots or,
She meets another girl by the name of Sophia, who's a new transfer from Leeds, England.
And she's quite friendly.
Oh yeah, she's a nice girl.
Mm-hmm. And Beth is can't think. Barbara. Yeah, I knew it started with a B.
I'm trying to think if there was a character named Beth.
No. Macbeth.
Barbara Thorson, by the way. Her full name, and that I think the whole Thor thing ties into her wielding a hammer.
That's kind of electrified when it hits, so maybe kinda.
That's not to imply that she has mystical powers, which she might. I mean, this movie gets a little confused.
Uh-huh.
And not in the good way that Monster Calls did.
So, pretty much, they say hi to each other, and...
Well, Barbara is initially kind of just dismissive and just wanting to get about her business.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, she does tell Sophie a bit about what she does and about giants. About, the different kinds of giants.
And apparently the really, really big ones are called Titans, as big things are now called, apparently.
I mean, to be fair, the Titans date back to Greek mythology where they were bigger than the gods, so...
Yep.
Makes sense. I can't fault them for that, I mean...
Yep. We would be more enthusiastic about this, but like Protomet said earlier, we're both tired.
We're both tired. It's crappy out. I didn't get enough sleep last night, and then we have to talk about this movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Movie's also got what's her name? Zoe. Saldana,
Yeah.
playing a psychiatrist or counselor at the school.
Yep, the school counselor.
Who's trying to learn more about Barbara,
Mm-hmm.
try and get closer and try to help her with the situation that it is revealed during the second half of the film.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a bully. Let's just call her Bully. And I will admit, this is one of the few movies to have a bully in which the bullied actually stands up to their bully on a regular basis. So I'll give the movie that credit.
Yeah, she's not a pushover when it comes to her bully.
Not that the bully stops her or anything.
No.
Hey, it's just nice to see the whole not taking the bully's crap all that much.
Yeah.
And pushing back just as much as being pushed.
Mm-hmm. Fair to say they both get
On each other's nerves.
Yeah, that and expelled or detention.
Stuff.
We don't really see any of the detention parts.
I think that mostly happens to the bully. But I think the implication is also throughout the movie is that Barbara is also getting into trouble at school because of what's going on. Because her sister, who's taking care of her and her brothers, is basically taking on all the responsibility in the household.
Yeah.
And it stresses her out quite a bit as
it would. As it would.
There's one scene where she's cooking dinner, the brothers are playing, I don't know, Call of Duty or something.
Sure, let's say that.
And Barbara's just at the kitchen table with D&D crap.
Mm-hmm.
And so she tosses a dice, she tries to tell the brothers to turn down the TV. They don't listen to her. So she throws a dice and then unplugs the TV.
Yep.
Not with the dice. She just rolls the dice like it were a D&D.
Yep. Making a decision of what the die would say. Yeah.
And that her brothers are
jerks.
Are jerks, but they're barely in this movie. They're really only in this one scene.
I think they're in 2 scenes max, I believe, because I do remember the sister tells them it's time to eat, and apparently it was a vegan dish or something, and
pretty sure this is just an extension of the same scene.
Probably.
Because he grabs the dice and tosses it in the tomato stuff that the sister had made.
Yeah.
We also, throughout the film, get moments where we learn that things aren't going very well at Karen's job.
Yeah.
Karen being the sister. Mm-hmm. And it's in part because of because of the fact that she's also having to put up with Barbara's crap.
Mm-hmm. Yep, all of Barbara.
And at one point, she snaps at Barbara because she just can't handle it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, it was bound to happen. You know, just the stress got to her too much, and then Barbara goes runs off, and yeah.
A lot of stuff happens. Barbara is kind of antisocial throughout the film. And
the other girl, Sophia, asks, she ends up meeting Barbara at the bus stop, asking her, "Can I sit with you?" And they're several feet away from each other on the bus. I believe they're both sitting alone. And they do end up becoming friends. Ish.
Kinda, yeah. Apparently,
I think Barbara just tolerates her.
Puts up with her. I mean, it's not that she's an annoying character. She's a fine character.
Yeah,
It's just that Sophia doesn't fully believe everything that Barbara's saying. Whereas Barbara is utterly convinced that everything is correct.
Yep.
To the point of even claiming she has a warhammer in like this little heart-shaped purse.
And when we do actually get to see it, it is kind of funny.
She calls it Kovaleski after
a famous baseball player from the
Philly Giants.
Wow.
Because she also listens to like radio broadcasts of Phillies games from the time from back in the day.
Yep. Then
stuff happens.
Yeah. Beth ends up showing Sophia.
Barbara.
Oh, Barbara.
Barbara.
Yeah. Beth. Who the fuck is Beth? Barbara's, shows Sophia her little hangout that's out on the beach. And then she explains more about giants to her.
Goes into detail about the different types of giants. We already kind of covered this earlier in minor detail.
Mm-hmm. In this scene, I believe they start to become more friendly towards each other. Shut up.
Stop interrupting us, Brian's phone. Tank's phone.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff happens that just kind of deteriorates Barbara's standing with the other characters.
Yeah.
Like the bully becomes even more aggressive.
Mm-hmm. To the point where
she even manages to convince Sophia to tell her information that Barbara was keeping secret.
Like the traps, the giant traps and stuff like that, and she comes out and tries to confront them, and it was literally a 3-on-1 beatdown. But that's way later in the movie.
Then, like, in the second half, things get a bit different when we get a scene where Barbara actually uses the traps she has set up in town to kill a giant. A wood giant, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
In a train yard.
Yeah, by electrocution.
So, it's a bit difficult to determine if she actually killed the giant or just committed arson. Because it left a building on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen this wood giant plenty of times in the movie. Also,
Barbara starts to get haunted by these other smaller giants called harbingers, which don't attack her. They're just more there and ominous,
kind of antagonizing her.
Yeah, but like with words rather than actions.
Yeah. Calling her weak, and what do you expect when a big one comes and show us that you can actually kill a giant? And she does, and it takes so long just to see a giant.
And then we get to the climax of the movie where Barbara has to deal with the Titan that's coming to town, and we also learn that Barbara's mother is terminally ill.
Yeah,
which the movie alludes to numerous times throughout.
Yeah,
and it's only until like this climax that we finally get that information told to us.
She officially starts battling the Titan with her much larger hammer, and.
Turns out the Titan wasn't there for Barbara's mother. She was there for Barbara, who was basically becoming so unhinged.
Yeah. So pretty much, this is where, my opinion, besides the fighting portions, is how it becomes as similar as a monster calls.
Right.
The monster is actually talking to her like the tree monster from...
I will admit the climax of this movie is the best part of this movie. I did like it.
Yeah.
I just felt that the rest of the movie was kind of I feel like it probably would have been more entertaining if we had seen more fantastical stuff instead of like half the movie just being like, okay, this girl is crazy.
Yeah, it's just like an angsty preteen.
Yeah.
Like, that has an over imagination.
Overactive imagination that's just
kind of going wild.
Going wild while she's trying to deny the fact that her mother is a terminal illness.
Yes. And that's also how seems to happen in A Monster Calls as well.
Right, but it's a lot more
exactly
throughout the film.
And I would have preferred if this movie would have like more storytelling compared to what we got.
With the analogies and stuff?
Yeah, like, well, we kind of get a small amount, but...
I will admit, I am interested in checking out the original comic series that this movie is based on. See if that's better. I know that Joe Kelly worked on it, and he had some of my favorite Deadpool comics. I'm talking like some of the early stuff that was still developing the character. He was the guy who brought in characters like Weasel and Blind Al. He had a great run on that series, so I'm interested in checking out the comics at the very least.
Yes.
The movie, on the other hand,
lackluster.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad, it's just lackluster. It's just like... Would I watch it again after we did? No.
Monster Calls, definitely one of my favorite movies for what it does with the giant monster story.
Unexpectedly, for that movie, we just thought, we didn't know the stories were going to happen, how emotional they would become.
I swear that movie always brought me to tears whenever we get to a certain part.
Just like, nope, it's not going to happen again. It's not this time. Just flows. Tears just flow out of the eyeballs.
And the most tears that are shed during this movie are from yawning.
To me, they didn't. Kind of at the end when she finally actually talks to her mother. The mother isn't dead in the movie. She's
at least not until late in the movie.
Yeah, she is in her room, in a hospital type bed and
sort of situation.
Yes,
convalescing in her own home. But
and Barbara ends up just kind of cuddling with her. After she so-called defeated the Titan giant.
Yeah.
And pretty much explained it was just a bad storm.
I mean, that's what the news reports have. Again, this movie is a little confused on what is real and what's just happening in her head.
Yeah.
And admittedly, A Monster Call does that as well, but it does it in a more creative way.
Yeah. Monster Calls, the boy runs to the graveyard, and as the monster is technically kind of chasing him to tell him the final story, or the boy needs to tell the monster a story, the graveyard is falling apart.
Right.
Both of them cannot cope that both characters, the little boy from Monster's Call and the girl in this one, are pretty much the same character, just in different roles.
I think what makes A Monster Calls work is that we see more fantastical elements of the whole, is it real or is it imagined, a lot earlier on, whereas we spend a sizable chunk of this movie
not
from the
sure
perspective
if it's real or
not even seeing anything to make us question it. It isn't until the second half when we start to see the harbingers and stuff.
Yeah.
We begin to question whether or not...
if it's all in our head.
Or if it's actually happening. And Monster Calls, it's not important to whether or not it's real or fake. The important thing is that the boy is having to come to terms with his mother's illness, which is made a lot more clear throughout the film.
Yeah, we actually get to see her, we find out she has the cancer. She starts going through the different stages of cancer. And, then she's gone.
Yeah, I mean, the mother is a lot more present throughout A Monster Calls than she is in this. And I will admit that it was because the whole plot twist was that all this was happening because Barbara was refusing to just accept that her mother had an illness and refusing to even acknowledge her mother.
Yeah.
For fear that that would just make the whole thing a lot more real.
Yeah.
So, again, this movie isn't terrible. And again, I do like the final half. I just feel that another movie did this movie better.
Yep. Even what's that one? That Disney one? It has a giant in it too.
BFG.
Yes. My best friend giant or whatever.
Big friendly giant.
Big friend. That did better than this.
Yeah, and that's though. To be fair, that movie is just like, yep, nope. The imaginary stuff is totally real.
Yep. It's like
it's just out there.
Sorry for keep bringing up better movies than this, but they are.
I mean, at this point, we're basically just spouting how better A Monster Calls is for this movie instead of talking about this movie. So long story short, this isn't a terrible movie, but it's just not for us.
Yeah. If there was a max, we saw 3 giants out of this entire deal. And, well, the Woods one could have been the one that ended up getting fried at the train station. Who knows? Besides the Titan one that, I have to say, kind of had a cool design.
Oh yeah, the creative design work on this film is fine when we finally do see the giants.
There is a scene after the funeral. Spoilers, yeah, the mom does die.
I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the movie. The mom is going to die.
Where the Titan actually appears to her.
And she's like, it's going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. And the Titan goes back out into the ocean.
You gonna go swimming? That's something I haven't done in a long time.
Yeah,
Alright. Yeah, so if you want to go and watch this, go right ahead, but it's just not for me and Protomet, you guys.
Right.
So this has been
Son of Kaiju.
yeah. I'm tired, guys. My brain's fried. So, till next time, I've been Tank.
I'm Protomet.
Bye.
See ya.